Good morning, parents. We're here from Kindergarten Primary, and we wanted to give you some information before school got started about some of the kindergarten expectations and procedures. If you attended our kindergarten boot camp at the beginning of the summer, you already have this information, but many of you did not. And we wanted to make you as knowledgeable as we possibly could as we're going forth into the school year. So we're going to make some introductions, and then we're going to share a slideshow, and you won't be seeing us. You'll just be hearing our voices. I'm Marla Fowler. I'm one of the kindergarten lead teachers here at Celina Primary.
I'm Charlotte Coates, another kindergarten team lead here. I'm Erin Vaughter, another kindergarten teacher.
And so we are going to share our slideshow presentation with you guys and talk to you a little bit. And if you have any questions, please, after this is over, feel free to email any of us, and we'll be happy to answer any other questions that you might have. So here we go. Oh. So these are just our names in case that you forgot, and our email addresses are just our name at celinaisd.com. So feel free to email any of us with any information, questions that you might have. This is a link that you will have access to. We'll call you next week, and we will tell you who your child's teacher will be, and then you'll have access to this link. It gives you lots of information about our school procedures, start times, attendance. Hopefully any questions you have, you will be able to find here. But if you go to the top, when you find out who your child's teacher is, there are all the kindergarten teachers' names. If you click on your child's teacher's name, you'll find out about that teacher. There will be a sign up for Meet the Teacher, as well as some forms that you'll need to fill out before you come to meet the teacher. A way to connect with the classroom through Remind, and then some just general information to share. Then today our goal, we're going to share important information about our school, campus, and procedures.
Okay, I'll do lunch. All right, we know you have many questions, and we're here to answer them. If you have any more, you can wait until we call you with your child's teacher's name, or like she said, email us. All right, lunchtime. The do's and don'ts of kindergarten lunch boxes. We have 20 minutes. I mean, well, 30 minutes, but by the time you get in there, sit down, it's usually more like 20. So you need to make sure whatever you pack in the lunch boxes, they are able to open and finish by themselves. There are a few lunch monitors in there, but there are about 4 or 5 classes in there at a time. So it gets a little crazy. All right, so pack things they like. Pack foods that are easy, open containers, those little fruit containers and everything. Those are not easy containers to open for their little hands. Unwrap, peel, and cut up when possible. An example, like an orange. Place snacks in a separate container from the lunchbox. This is important. We do have a snack time. And if it's in the lunchbox, they usually eat it for lunch, and then they don't have a snack for the afternoon. So keep those separate, please, in the backpack or something. And then, like I said, keep the time limit in mind. It's not a long lunch time. Don't overpack. Don't expect everything to be eaten, especially the first couple weeks when they're getting into the routine of lunch. And don't forget to pack a napkin. And then this is our breakfast and lunch cost for this year. Breakfast is $2.25, and then lunch is $3.25. Okay. When special assistance may be needed, free and reduced lunch, that kind of thing. There are things that the counselor can do, you can contact her. There's weekend backpacks for food. There's clothing, there's school supplies. Just contact this counselor, Jeannie Juno, if you have any questions about that or need assistance.
Attendance. Attendance is very, very important. Your kiddo won't be able to learn what's going on in school unless they're here with us. So attendance is something that we really need to make sure obviously happens on a daily basis. Everything that we do in kindergarten, you'll be surprised, is incredibly important to the foundation of their learning. So even though they might come home and say that we just played today, you'll be surprised how much they're actually learning during the day. So attendance is very important. Being on time is important as well. Tardies will be given out at 7:45. If your kiddo is going to be tardy, you're going to have to walk them into the building to the front and they'll be given a tardy slip. If your kiddo is sick or has a doctor's appointment, to have it counted as an excused absence, we need to have the doctor's note sent back as soon as possible. You can email it to your child's teacher. You can email it to Mr. Grant, Austin Grant, who is our PEMS person, or you can even send it in their backpack back to school the next day. So the state requires 90% attendance. Letters are generated automatically after the third missed day. So if your kiddo has been absent for 3 days in a row, the next absence you will be getting a letter home from the school. Even if they are excused absences, we still let you know that this is how many days your child has been absent so far this year. So what will your child be learning this year? In phonics, phonics is pretty much the beginning of learning how to read. We focus a lot on phonics and give the students the tools that they need to become successful readers. We'll start off with letters and learning the letters and the letter sounds first, obviously. And then from there, we pretty quickly start teaching them how to read sentences. We'll do what we call CVC words, which are simple words like dog and cat. From there, we go to CCVC words, which are stop, plan. So they're words that start with 2 consonants. And then we'll go into CVCC words, which are scent and cast. Those are some of the ideas. But we do expect them to be able to decode them, which means sound them out, read them, and then also be able to spell them. So if we say dog, we expect them to be able to sound out D-A-G, and then be able to write it down for us. Handwriting is also important. We really, really focus on the proper use of pencil and the proper pencil grip, which is using it with your pincher fingers. Most kiddos unfortunately come to us with not having the proper pencil grip. So that's something that we focus on a lot. We also focus on reminding them that we start from the top and go to the bottom. None of our letters start at the bottom of the line. They all start at the top. Also, we know a lot of kindergartners come to us because in pre-K they learn how to write with the capital letters, and that is awesome. But we really focus on lowercase letters in kindergarten. So when they write their name, we expect them to have the first letter capital, but then the rest of their letters lowercase.
All right. Students are expected to read on a level 4 by the end of the school year. This includes different punctuation, commas, quotation marks, question marks, those kind of things. Many high frequency words. And then on average, 2 to 6 lines of text per page, some longer sentences, and students must be able to retell the story in order. And here's an example of what a page on a level 4 book. The duck went in the little house. She said, "What a nice little house." Guided reading and reading stations. This will be happening every day during class. Guided reading is the time to meet with groups of students on their level and work on their skills and comprehension. Guided reading folders will be sent home a few times a week with books for your child to read independently. We want the children to read the books, not the parents. And we also ask that you have them point to the word as they read it. And then there's also probably be a reading log in there, so we know that you have read the books with them. Reading stations happen in the classroom while the guided reading instruction is happening, and it's a time for your child to work independently or in a small group on the reading writing phonics concepts that we have already helped them master in class. All right, writing capital letters at the beginning of the sentence, just at the beginning, not sporadic through the sentence. Spaces between the words, ending punctuation, writing the high frequency words. And also there will be a list of high frequency words in their take home folder that we ask that y'all practice at night. And then sounding out unknown words and then drawing a picture to match the story.
So math, we try to do as much hands-on learning with math as possible. Lots of games, lots of stations, lots of manipulatives. Your students will do things like recognize the numbers 0 through 20, counting sets of objects 0 through 20, as well as rote counting, just 1 to 100 by memory. Writing their numbers, again, starting at the top. None of the numbers start at the bottom either. Addition within 10, subtraction within 10, identifying 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional shapes, and real world objects that show or demonstrate those 2 and 3-dimensional shapes. Forms of measurement, mostly we do things like taller than, shorter than, longer than, heavier, lighter, things like that. We don't get real specific with how many pounds or how many ounces. It's mostly a comparison in measurement. And then graphing. Science and social studies. Some weeks we'll do science and some weeks we'll do social studies. We kind of alternate back and forth depending on units and things that are going on, like holidays and things like that. With science, they'll work on working like a scientist. They'll learn how to safely work with things like tweezers and goggles and magnifying glasses and things like that. Properties of objects, how to describe them, how to, touch, feel, see, smell, things like that. Forms of energy, earth materials, weather, objects in the sky, seasons, and organisms and environments. Social studies, the things that we focus on is home and classroom, things like rules and procedures and authority figures. Same thing with school community, geography and places, celebrations, customs, that would be our holidays, citizens in the community, and that would also be those famous citizens that we have to discuss, as our Texas community, like Stephen F. Austin and Jose Navarro. Those are 2 of our big ones that we have to talk about. And then working together as a community. Everybody has a job, everybody has to pitch in to make everything run smoothly.
All right, so our folders, we have several. We have a blue daily folder that will come home every day. It's going to have the behavior chart in it, as well as a list of sight words. It'll have other important things that might come home during the day as well. And then we have our Orange Thursday folder, and the Orange Thursday folder will have anything from the front office that we've gotten that week. It might have a packet of your kiddos' work that they've done the previous week, but it has a lot of important information in it. We have a red poetry folder that goes home every Monday, and it's going to have poems in it that we have covered in class the week before. You are not required to do all of the poems at home. It has a list at the very beginning, kind of like a table of contents, and it shows you which poems to have your child read to you or with you. And they're usually the poems that we've done the week before. So they're poems that the kiddos already know. And then, like we've already talked about, we will have a guided reading folder as well. These will come home throughout the week. Every teacher kind of has their own way of doing them, but they'll come home with your child's guided reading books in them. And they're the books that you'll be able to read at home. And then you will want to send that folder back to school the very next day.
All right, extra information. The high frequency words, like we were talking about, that will be in the folders. Celina ISD requires that they are able to read 75 words by the end of the year. And these are words that you see a lot in reading. The word like, the word the, those kind of things. There will be a list of these words in their blue daily folder, and they're divided by weeks. And we ask that you go over these words. There's usually 3-4 words per week that you need to kind of go over at home just to make sure they have mastered them. We do go over these words in class. Like I said, we need your help to ensure that they are learning them. Arrival and dismissal. Students need to be dropped off and picked up on the north side of the building off Malone Street. And we ask that you do not come in from Preston. You need to go down Pecan and go over to Malone Street. Otherwise, it becomes a traffic jam. So north side of the building off Malone Street, not from Preston. And then snack time. Every teacher has a snack time. If you have a later lunch, it's usually in the morning. If you have the early lunch, it's usually in the afternoon. And we ask that you do send a snack, something easy, something quick. It's not a meal. Maybe a bag of animal crackers or a bag of goldfish or something like that. And just like lunch, we ask that they be able to open it themselves.
Water bottles. We have water fountains in the building, and we are not as strict as we were when COVID was so bad, but water fountains are still a breeding ground for germs. And students often don't know how to use them correctly. They put their mouths on the fountains and then we're spreading germs. So just a safer way for students to hydrate, send a water bottle, make sure their name is on it. And please, 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 the water bottles that have the straws built into them, not the ones that screw on. Their tiny little hands just can't get those lids screwed on. And we have lots of spills with the screw on bottles. An extra change of clothes. Even if your child does not have potty accidents, they slide down a wet slide, they fall in the mud, they spill their milk. There's always a reason that sometime during the year, they'll need a change of clothes. Also, when the weather changes, be sure to take out the clothes to match the weather. If they have their accident, in January and all they have is shorts and their backpack, that doesn't really work. And the same thing is, if it's March or May and we still have sweats in there, they're going to get pretty hot. So just routinely, as the weather changes, switch out those clothes in their backpack. Kindergarten newsletter. Link up to our primary Facebook page. It has a lot of things going on in our school, but as far as kindergarten specific information, we have a weekly newsletter. It'll outline what we're studying in class, like their objectives and content, stuff like that. It will have information like if we need something sent in for a lesson in class, if we're having a special event in class, classroom parties, things like that. The more specific information is going to be in our kindergarten newsletter, and it will be emailed out, and you'll receive an email, and it may be from my email, Marla Feller at celinaisd.com, or it might be from Celina Primary Kindergarten. It just kind of depends on how that's sent out, but it's a s'more. So open it up every week, usually on Sunday night, and make sure that you have the latest, greatest information.
Ooh, standards-based report cards. So this is how your kiddos are going to be graded here in kindergarten. We do a standards-based report card, which means that they are graded on what we have taught so far in class. And it's more of we'll talk to you about it. It's pretty much about we believe that we want to make sure that you all know what's going on, and we do lots of I can statements in class. That is how we let the kiddos know exactly what we're teaching them. And then that I can statement is then put on the report card. So hopefully when they get home and it says, I can tell the beginning, middle, and end, you can ask them that and they'll understand exactly what you're saying because we've talked about it in class. So the standards-based report card looks like this. They're going to be able to earn an M for mastery. which means the student has demonstrated a complete understanding of the standard that we've taught. A P for progressing, the student demonstrates a partial understanding of the grade level standard, but lacks proficiency in the area. So they haven't mastered it yet, but they're getting there. And then B stands for the beginning. The student demonstrates minimal understanding of the grade level standard and needs support to complete key tasks. And I'll be honest, beginning of the school year, we have lots of B's and P's because it's all new information to them. So if your kiddo doesn't have an M to start with, that is okay. The M's are what we want at the end of the school year. They have all school year to earn those M's. By using the standards and these rating key, parents are able to have specific feedback on what exactly you all know what your kiddos have mastered on all of the standards, or what we call the I can statements in kindergarten.
The exception to that will be specials classes, reading or art, music, PE, things like that. And they'll either get a satisfactory or a needs improvement. And very rarely are you not going to get a satisfactory, but they don't have the standards that we have in our regular core classrooms. Oops.
All right, so here are some save the dates for the first month and a half of school. If you want to write them down, August 8th will be Meet the Teacher. You will be contacted by your child's teacher sometime next week. Teachers do not come until August 2nd. We will get our class list. We will reach out to you, and you will set up a time, a 15-minute slot for you to come in, just yourself and your child, to meet the teacher, look around the classroom. Yes, please bring your school supplies that day. On the website that we will be giving you, there is things that need to be labeled and things that do not need to be labeled. So look for that. August 10th is the first day of school. Doors open at 7:25. You are able to walk your child to school or to their classroom the first day of school. September 6th, Coffee with the Counselor. That will be on another video. The counselor will talk about what she does there. September 8th is our back to school dance. This is always a big hit. We'll have a theme, we'll have a DJ, and snacks and everything like that. So September 23rd is our color run. This is our first fundraiser where they get donations and they run around the track and get sprayed with color and stuff like that. The kids love it. September 30th will be picture day. And then October 6th will be our ABC fashion show. We spend the first 26 days of school going over a letter a day. And then when we're all done, each kid is assigned a letter and they make a vest and we have a little fashion show, and it is the cutest thing you've ever seen.
All right. So we hope that we have given you some information that you can use coming into the 2022-2023 school year. We hope that your kids are as excited as we are about starting this year, and we can't wait to meet you and your little ones. Just be looking for a teacher phone call next week. Make sure to like the Celina Primary Facebook page to get all the latest information. And again, if you have any questions at all, please just reach out, email us. We're here for you.
Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be wonderful. We're looking forward to having all of you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.